So hello again. We will now do the action button where we're gonna give functionality to this button here. So what are we gonna do is head first into the design, click this button, double click it. After double clicking it, wait, you will be directed to the part of the code where your action button is declared, and as you can see, it will generate a code like this: add action listener, new action listener, action perform, action event E. You don't have to understand all of that. In simple manner, it's just an action listener that will listen to um, whatever the user, mm, whenever the user will click your button. So, if the user will click this button, what are we gonna do is to change. This is a comment, remember. Um, um, Drop this frame and then open the new frame. Open the view, students frame. Open the frame. Drop frame. Open form frame. So how are we gonna do that? First, we need to add another window to our package. So src new other, just like window builder, swing designer, application window. So next, form window, and finish. So here's the generated code for the form window. Then resize it to 750 by 500 again. Drop the absolute layout on the content pane. And then uncheck the resizable into false. So what to do next is to put another J label here. J label. No, sorry, my bad. It's supposed to be a J panel. No. Let's look at the sign number. Oops. Why are you here? Let's delete it because it's on the wrong folder. Let's save this first and delete. Default package, new other vision window, form window. Design, resized. Mhm. Let me restart my Eclipse. You can see there's some bug on Eclipse IDE. So design page, resize, drop absolute layout, and the panel. First, let us see what is the size of the first panel for consistency. So it is 736. It's supposed to be 750 by 120. So let's drop the J panel. 750 by 120. So that's good. Then change the background. Let's just copy the code, RGB code here. Where's that? Where's the panel? Yun. Here to here. Then change the another one to 55229 to here. Okay, all good. Um, okay, so now another. Then what we will do is we want to um comment this main, because our main will be only on main window. We wouldn't want this because we only want to run the main window and then call the initialization of another frame from then. So then we're gonna copy this public void run and create a static function that will create the window for us. Why did I do this? It's because when we click the button here, we will drop this frame, and of course we will initiate and call this run to initiate the another frame. What we're gonna do is drop the frame dot dispose, and then form window dot run. So let's test it. Form, then it's done. Only two codes, frame.dispose and form window.run. So if you repeated the process earlier on creating the checkboxes, this will be the final result. Um, so let me pause it for a second so that you can screenshot the final result and um, copy it. So now we will go to the back-end part in which on how we can implement the course actions depending on what the user will check on their symptoms, or if they traveled outside Pangasinan, or if they are close contact of COVID positive person. So let us head first on the module to see the course actions. So let me the Google Drive ITE. So Tuesday 2019. So then I'll be presenting the flowchart of also for the for our for the back end part. So it's loading. I'll present to you first the back end part. So this is the flowchart. No, this is not the one. It's missing. Where is the flowchart? PNG. Here's it. So here's a flowchart. Let me zoom it. So first we will initialize this. So we will initialize a map, a hash map. Hash map is a key value pair. This one of a kind of data structure in which you can store a key and a value. It's more likely a dictionary on Python if you tackle Python. Then getting input from users. Then if a close contact or outside or traveled outside, then we will prompt the student must not attend school and required to self-isolate. If no, then his temperature is 37.8, then we'll prompt the student must be placed on isolation and sent home. Or if the primary symptoms, that number of positive symptoms, or the correct symptoms is greater than 1, or the secondary symptoms, that number of positive symptoms is greater than equal to 2, then we will prompt also the student must be placed in isolation and sent home. If that's not the case, then if secondary symptoms, the number of positive symptoms is greater than equal to 1, supposed to be 1, prompt the student should be sent home. Else, the student does not afford to follow isolation measures, or the student is a healthy well-being. So that's the overview of our flowchart that we will use as a guide to know how to build the back end of the project. So here's the module. So now let's head and create a map. Primary symptoms variable. This private primary symptom is a hash map containing a string and a boolean value. It will store whatever the user will click and store it into the symptoms that whether it belongs to primary symptom or secondary symptoms, and then checking true or false whether it is checked or not. So hash map string and boolean. So hash map, then import hash map.util equals new hash map. Then of course we will gonna do also the secondary symptoms. So what is the logic behind this? Now if we look at our let me run this first. If we look at it, if I will click this, I want the cuff to be put in the hash map together with a value of true. And if I will deselect it, I want to put it on the hash map with a value of false. That's the idea of it. And when we click submit later on, I will count the number of positive symptoms on the primary and secondary, and test it out whether we need a case course action on the certain student. So that's the logic behind it. So how can we get the state of a certain checkbox? So here it is. Go to design, go to a certain checkbox, right click it and add event handler. On add event handler, you put item and item state change. Now if a certain value is changed, we want to put primary or the better way is to create private function set symptoms. Private void that will take a parameter of item event. Item event E, the checkbox, it's supposed to be not void, because um we want to return a hash map, a value of hash map, and then um assign the value to this. So a hash map string boolean symptoms sim private hash map string boolean. So if item e dot get item change, e dot get state change equals 1, that means true. Then we want to get the label of the checkbox, the cough, diarrhea, or whatsoever that the user clicked. Get label, we want to simp dot put then true. Else we want to simp dot put c label false. Then we want to return the simp. So how can we test it? We'll go to the checkbox cuff, call the function symptoms, no, primary first equals to set symptoms e checkbox and primary symptoms, and then we can print or check whether it's working or not by printing the primary symptom. So let's run this. Error exists. Where does the error? I don't know where is that error. So let's just proceed. Form cough. As you can see here, then cough equals false. So that's the main logic behind using hash map with this kind of project. Cough equals true, cough equals false. Then we will just call that function on every other checkboxes. Then difficulty breathing is still a symptoms, so we can just copy paste it. Forget about this print statement, just copy paste this and change this into the checkbox. Difficulty in breathing. Another one. Item get stage change. Loss of taste is still primary symptoms. We can check it through the module. Students in university, if this or cough, difficult breathing, loss tail of smell, says okay. So after loss of smell, secondary symptoms na. So primary, we'll just paste what we copied earlier. Check. Checkbox cough, loss of taste. So we'll go to design again, then loss of smell, then right click it, add event handler, get item change, item state change, then paste it again, then change the checkbox into the variable of what checkbox this. So checkbox loss of smell. So after that, we'll go now to the secondary symptoms, add event handler, item state change. So secondary, we'll go now to secondary symptoms equals to set symptoms, then that's it. We'll go now to stuffy nose, add event handler, item state change, secondary symptoms, set runny nose, copy this, paste it, check, box runny nose, then headache, then nausea, let's paste nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, item, oops, muscle ache, muscle ache, then last one, fatigue. Okay, so the other two traveled outside Pangasinan is just a Boolean variable because they are not symptoms. They are like certain case pointed case pointers. So private traveled outside, private Boolean is equals to false, private Boolean close contact is equals to false. So the scenario here is different from the others. We don't have to call the set symptoms. We just want if e dot get state change equals 1, then we want to call travel outside equals true, else we want it to be false. The same goes with the close contact. An event handler item state change, then if e dot get state change equals 1, then we want close contact equals true, else close contact equals false. After that, so that's it on the check boxes. So what we want to do is, if we click the submit button, I want to pop up, or I want to validate all the data if the student or if you have a name, an address, contact number, section, or temperature. These are all required values that the user must input. The user must input data. So let us first create a variable for the name, private student name. So of course it is a string equals an empty string, then private string address equals, just put it to name, then private string contact number equals an empty string, then another private string section, and private string temperature equals blank. So now let's head to design, click the submit button twice. So this will be generated, action event E, action perform. So what we want is to check if we want first to state um, to get the text field for the text field, the value of the text field name, address, contact number, section, temperature, and assign them to their variables. So what's the name of this? Name field, add text field. Wait, let me address field. So it's not contact field. Let me change the variable of this section field, temperature field. So it will not be lost later on finding what variable name did we declare. So let's go to the submit button and then let's assign those values. So I want name is equals to name field that get text. The same goes with the address is equals to address field that get text. This get text function will get whatever the user input on those text field. Then next is the contact number. Contact number is equals to contact number field that get text. Section is equals to section field that get text. Then temperature is equals to temperature field that get text. Now if name is equal to and or address is equal to or contact number is equal to or section equal to no, I forgot, don't do this in Java, it will not work. Equals lowercase something like this. When comparing to string together, use equal ignore case. Otherwise, it will not work. Because a string in Java is a class. Unlike other languages, you can directly compare two string using two equal sign. But here you will compare string through a method. So what does this mean? If the name is blank, or address is blank, or contact number is blank, or section equal blank, I want to prompt option the option pane that show message dialog. This is null. Then I want the text message to error field submit error. Please enter the required fields. Submit error. Then J option. The option pane that error message. So I want to pop an error message. So let's test it out. So where is that? I don't know where is that. Oh, I see. This import is causing the error. Okay, so form. Then if I submit, yes. Please enter required fields. Dave charm. Okay. So let's fill is with. Okay. So it's working. We know that's working because when we fill all the fields, it didn't prompt. But when I cleared the temperature, it will prompt. Okay. So we know that's working. Why did you? It's on debugger mode. I don't know how to let me restart my Eclipse again. So here, okay, so that's it. So open this is a design page again. So else, what we want to get this temperature first. So we will try to convert double temp, and let's declare double private double temp. No, should be float. What's this? Only two decimal values. Temp. So that's it. Now we will do a try catch. We want to try to parse the text into a float variable. So one is temp dot temp is equals to float dot parse float string temperature. Parse float catch insert exception exceptions, then we will want to prompt temperature is not valid. Oh, please enter valid value for the temperature. So let's guess if that's working. So the charm 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, then some random section. Then if we try to use text in temperature and submit it, please enter valid value for the temperature. But if we did something like this, 36.07, it will not prompt because we did type the right value. So that's it for the temperature. So try, then if we did try, if now what I want to do is to create a checker for the symptoms. So private int, because I want to return a count of the number of the symptoms. Get symptoms, then I want to pass the hash map of a string and a boolean sim. Then I want to return count equals 0. I want to return the count. So now what we want is to traverse to the values of the hash map and get the number of symptoms that are marked true. So how will we do that? First, we're gonna need to traverse to an array. So iterator is equals to sim dot so sim dot entry set dot iterator, then we're gonna import this from java.util. Then according to this, then while iterator that has next, then what to map entry map that entry, map element is equals to convert it to map that entry, iterator dot next, then what we want is get value int map dot element dot get value dot get key. Okay, so if map element dot get value dot to string equals true, then we want count plus equal to 1. So if the map element will iterate through the element to the iterator of the hash map sim of the interest set, then we want to find all those values that are true, then counting plus equal to 1, and then after counting what was the values that are true, then we want to return the count. So where is it? So if temperature temp is greater than or equal to let's greater than to equal to 37.8 Celsius, 37.8, or get symptoms, primary symptoms is greater than or equal to 1, or get symptoms secondary is greater than or equal to 2, then we want to prompt something like this. J option pane dot show message dialog null, then course action, mamaya mo na yan, course action, then information message. J option. Formation. Message. Course action 1. So let's test if it's working. Form. Then let's fill up this charm. 131 but I am experiencing cough. Then course action 1. However, if I'm experiencing difficulty in stuffy nose only, then course action 1 again. Because why? Primary symptoms. Stuffy nose primary symptoms. Oh. 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 Why is that happening? Get symptoms. Why is that happening? So let's debug. We want to know what are the primary symptoms and secondary symptoms. Otherwise there's something wrong with the logic. Secondary, because it should not been behaving like that. So first cough. Okay, error thief charm, something with the address is to 1033. I'm experiencing cough. Okay, no cough, stuffy nose. Oh, stuffy nose, true. Oh, I see. It's registering on secondary symptoms. Why? So I guess I did some mistakes here. I see. Oh, that's why. I forgot to. Oh, change this. I forgot. I really forgot. That's why we're getting an error. Oh, why is that happening? Okay, that's good. So let's check it again. Cough. Bit. Okay, then 32. Cough goes through. Okay, no. Okay, it's not working, but if it's true, it's working. Okay, nice. All good. However, if I check this to 37.9, cross action 1, 37.8, then it's good. So that's it. We're now we're gonna do we'll change this, of course, later on. Then I want this to attach into panel. This also to panel 1. So I want to change. I want to have variables private course actions, private string course action 1, course 1. Then I want just I want to copy this. So student sent to isolation home. Then private string course 2. Student should be sent home. Private string course 3. So that's it. Because scenario 4 and this scenario 4 and scenario 3 is the same. Then we want to just replace this with course 1. Then else if then another private string no course equals to the student is healthy and no isolation action is required. Else if get symptoms secondary symptoms is greater than or equal to 1, then we want to print this and then course 2. Then else if traveled outside or close contact, then we want course 3. Else course 4 no course. So let's check if it's working. They term bulakin niya. Then 452 Patang Nasiki Kasinan. Then time 36. My temperature is 36. Then I'm not suffering anything. The student is healthy, no isolation is required. Then I traveled outside Pangasinan. Student must attend school and they're required to self-isolate for 14 days. Then I am a close contact. It's the same. Then I experience vomiting. Then I must be sent home. If I experience the vomiting and diarrhea, then the student must be placed in isolation and sent home. If I'm suffering cough, then it scores 1. Then it scores 1. Okay, so all working to the logic of and criteria of this activity project exam.